Good afternoon again, folks. Welcome to today's final front load and another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels, and we're going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but first the disclaimers, right? Alright, folks, it's been way longer than a day than I thought it was going to be. So this video is going to be relatively short. Hopefully. We'll see, right? But just to kind of rehash things from what we've gone over today, it's kind of a really simple lesson, kids. A, society thinks it's okay to use my diagnosis as a slur. I wish I wasn't quite as surprised by that as I was. That really caught me off guard and infuriated me. Number 2, why are we now living in a society that looks down on kids being kids? Granted, I was not the most energetic kid. In fact, my mom could tell you that a good majority of the time that I would just yell from my room, "Please leave me alone, I want to read." Granted. But as any other kid, I also had steam to blow off. I could go outside to read, which I did often. I liked to walk. I liked to climb trees. Loved climbing trees. I was a little freaking monkey. Little freaking tree monkey, I'm telling you. If I could have lived up there in the top branches, I would have. I was allowed to be a kid. Now, all of a sudden, when a kid acts like a kid, everybody's trying to label them. Everybody's trying to armchair diagnose them. Whether they have something or not, why are we not allowing kids to be kids anymore? Why are we criticizing a little boy who stood still for 2 hours, do a little dance, coming from a sister with a family of brothers? If you think that's misbehavior and there's something wrong, you should have seen my brothers back in the day. I mean, they were hyped up all the time. They were using their bikes without helmets. This is the 90s, kids. This is back when doing stupid crap for clout wasn't put on YouTube, but was still, if you didn't show up with bruises, then you just weren't cool. Or, deciding to find a tree to climb the roof, then, jump off the roof of the house and see if you could, manage not to break a bone by rolling. I'm not saying do these things. But there were also literally neighborhood-wide water balloon fights, which I actually enjoyed. We would have an entire neighborhood of kids walking around all over town. And now, all of a sudden, kids aren't allowed to be kids anymore. We gotta diagnose it when a kid lets off some steam because, they're 5. Is it the kid with the problem? I don't think so. But now, back to the usual disclaimers. In the description box, you're going to find a link to the article. Actually, no, I'm going to pontificate on that, because us nerds had our activities, too, to blow off steam. Paul back there had D&D groups. Stuff that would be considered weird now.
Well, and back in my day, they also still had arcades.
I remember arcades. I remember when we used to have one in the mall. They called it Aladdin's Castle, and it was fabulous. It was fabulous. They had a virtual, I remember they had a virtual ski game that was terribly expensive for a little kid. But boy, I would save up an allowance to get on that machine when it was time to go to the mall. Probably the only reason why my mom could convince me to go to the mall, because from little kid to now, I feel like the passage from Dante's Inferno should be written above every mall in America. You know, abandon all hope, ye who enter here. Yeah, yeah. I'm still not a fan of shopping. But anyways, to the disclaimers. In the description box, folks, you're going to find a link to the article that the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read. It's written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics, wherein they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called behavior modification program. Matter of fact, the JRC doesn't want you to read this article so much, they've threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. Well, folks, NeuroClastic has refused, so you know the drill. Please read the article and share it on all your social media. Also included is the Ozarks' first article in regards to the Agape boarding school, now known as Stone for Help boarding school situation, a so-called Christian-themed boarding school based out of Stockton, Missouri that takes in so-called troubled male teens that has and pending over 21 civil lawsuits, claims, and allegations leveled against it, all which have been substantiated by the Missouri Department of Social Services, and they include the following: sodomy, rape, sexual assault, child abuse, psychological and emotional abuse, child trafficking, starvation, and that's just for starters. You have one former staff member arrested by the FBI, another a doctor who still lives on the premises with full access of the boys up on multiple, again, substantiated claims of sodomy, rape, and sexual assault of the boys there. You got an attorney general too busy chasing after drag queens and trying to defund public libraries and failing, really failing at life, to, protect the actual kids in this state. And you've got a governor that I don't even think an intervention can help. So please, folks, send help. Please don't forget to read that article and share it on all your social media. We got the other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign as well, including Hoya's massive archive on the subject, Jennifer Masemba's behavioral sheet of shockable offenses, a clip out of the 7-hour ordeal undergone by Andre McCollins back in 2002, the templates, and the ever-present, self-explanatory, change.org, shut the Judge Rotenberg Center down petition. When we discuss the JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, folks, please use your headphones, all right? Also, warning, this channel is marked not for children for a reason. We use profanity and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously parental supervision is advised. Trigger warning. We are about to once again descend into the bad ravings of the lunatic mind known as Dr. Matthew Israel. You're going to hear gaslighting, victim blaming, pseudoscience, and lies. Excuse me a moment. All coming from a man with a massive ego and even larger God complex. So, folks, square your shoulders and prepare yourself for the stupid, all right? All right, where we left off. JRC refers to physical restraints as limitation of movement, and this is a core part of its adversive treatment program. This is something that they addressed earlier, and they say, but no, we don't. We're about getting the kids out of their restraints, or putting them in a mechanical restraint, which, I'm sorry, doctor, that's what the GED is, when they are world famous for strapping Andre McCollins face down, all fours, with a helmet over his head and shocked him over 31 times. This school has also done the same to two boys who were both shocked over 71 times each after being woken up in the middle of the night after even being so-called faded off the device. Sorry, doctor, but your words do not match with your track record. Right? Next paragraph. Students may be restrained for extensive periods of time, hours, intermittently, days, emphasis added, when restraint is used as punishing consequence. One boy spent 2 years almost continually strapped to a chair from 2007 to 2009 when the mother refused the use of the GED with her child. He was almost continually strapped to a chair until she was finally able to find another placement. He has been strapped to the chair for 2 years. This is another false allegation. Why did you pay her $2 million then, doctor? Why did you order your staff to destroy the surveillance footage if it's a lie? Sorry, not sorry. Staff will wrestle the student to the floor and strap them to a board face down and then shock them. They could be there for 12 hours or more until they are complied. This is another false accusation, is it? Explain Andre McCollin's video, doctor. That video is 7 hours long. The only time you let him up was to have staff basically carry him to the bathroom and then strap him back up again. But that was only at the end of the video. You shocked 2 other students 71 times each. Yeah. It's not false, doctor. It's true. We have the surveillance videos, the ER documents, and the DESI reports to back it up. It's also backed up from when the New York State Department of Special Education sent that group there to do their unannounced visit. It's not a lie when we can prove that you're the one who's lying, doctor. You can't lie when we have the receipts. Your own surveillance footage shows that you're lying. It's like arguing with an AH supporter, I swear to God. No, she didn't. It's just right there on the audio. What's wrong with you people? I can't deal with individuals that refuse to see reality. Maybe it's the autism in me. But how do you people function? How do you function in life? I'm curious. How do you believe people like Dr. Matthew Israel and AH with their illogical insanity? Their lies are so bad. There's so many receipts that they're lying. And people still drink the Kool-Aid. And I can't help this prevailing thought that reverberates into my brain as to how do these people function. I can't do it. Can't do it. Sorry, but God. Mechanical restraints on both arms and legs, face down, and just left there. I was put in a room by myself and put in a 4-point chair. This is false. All the use of restraint at the JRC is conducted in compliance with state regulations and court-approved treatment plans. As explained earlier, students are never left alone in a room. Dude, did any of this say he was left alone? That's again him. He loves to do this to us advocates, to put words in our mouth that we never said. You've noticed he's done this throughout the entirety of this document. Did we say you left him alone? No, we said you pinned him face down on a 4-point board and just left them there. Did we say there was no one in the room with him? No, doctor. You see, you can strap someone up like that and just leave them there and continue to torture them. Okay? So, what are we hearing here? More word salad, more blatant out and out lies. More, but we didn't really do it. It's not true. But this is why we did it. Classic Dr. Matthew Israel, ladies and gentlemen, non binary, however you identify. That guy. That Dr. Matthew Israel. Who has had a long history of, but we don't do that. It's not true. But this is why we do it. That can be, basically, that can sum up this whole 115 pages of insanity. We don't do it. It's not true. It's a lie. It's all the advocates. They're misrepresenting or they're lying. But this is why we do it. That sums up the whole thing. The whole thing. It's not an argument. None of this is an argument. Not to anyone who has two brain cells to rub together. This is what we're up against, folks. This is a guy that U.S. senators and Congress has listened to. This is a guy that the D.C. Circuit Court has allowed this insane treatment to go on. I feel like none of these individuals have actually studied this man's justifications for his insanity. At least I would hope not. I hope to hell that they have not read through this jumbled mess of a so-called argument and just went, no, sounds good. I would hope. We're going to close on that. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time. And as always, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. Bye-bye, everyone.